بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله تعالى درجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We were discussing verses of the Quran that indicate the Imamah of Imam Ali. The fifth is the verse of ta'ah, the verse of obedience. In Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 59, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا. This verse commands believers to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to obey the messenger and ulul amr, those who are vested with authority. The term ati'u is repeated. Ati'ullah and then wa ati'ur rasul wa ulul amr. Why? Because our obedience to God and our obedience to the Prophet are not the same level. We obey the Prophet because we are obeying Allah. So authority of the Prophet comes from Allah. So this is why Allah repeated Ati'u. Ati'ullah wa ati'ur rasul wa ulil amr. But when it comes to ulil amr and rasul, both of them are human beings. Both of them have authority from Allah. Of course, ulul amr come after the Prophet. But because the term ati'u is not repeated, it means that the same unconditional obedience that we have for Rasul, we should have for ulul amr. Yes, it's unconditional. And this cannot be except if they are infallible. If they were fallible, we could not use the same word for both of them. Some Muslims, or majority of Muslims, they don't think ulul amr has to be ma'soom. They use ulul amr for any caliph, any king, any person who has authority. It says waliyul amr and the plural is ulul amr. But we say no. Ulul amr in this ayah refers to imams who are successors of the Prophet, who are like Prophet to be obeyed unconditionally. If Imam, in the discussion about Isma, we also talk about this. If Imam was possible to make mistake or commit sins, then we could not say to people, you must obey him. Yeah? Because if he makes mistake and you tell people to obey him, then you are asking people to make mistake. If he commits sin and you say obey him, and if you say obey him when he doesn't make mistake or when he doesn't commit sin, then first of all, why you are putting it next to the Prophet? Secondly, then people can always bring excuses. They don't like to obey him. They say, we thought he made mistake here. If you have a possibility of someone making mistake, then it's not that only when he makes mistake he loses authority. Every time you doubt, even if I tell you someone makes 10% mistake, but how many times you doubt? Every time you doubt, not just 10%. So this ayah also shows that we should have someone who is vested with authority and whose obedience is like obedience to the Prophet, unconditional. Not equal, but because he comes after the Prophet, but unconditional. Another verse is the verse of Wali in Surah Ma'idah, verses 55-56 on page 149. إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون ومن يتولى الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا فإن حزب الله هم الغالبون. This ayah 55 has to be read and understood with 56. Unfortunately, normally people stop at the end of 55, but 56 is follow-up for 55. And this shows that this wilaya is not friendship. It's more than friendship. Because by friendship you cannot form hizb. Hizb means party. Hizb has to have hierarchy. People in a hizb, they have hierarchy, they have aims, objectives, they have tasks, they have to be answerable to the people who have authority. Yeah? Hizb is organization. Just friendship doesn't form hizb. Yeah? So this wilaya is a special wilaya. We don't have time to talk about this, but if you are interested in the lectures and article about social wilaya, I have discussed what is the meaning of wilaya, and the summary of that is wilaya is belonging to the same camp, belonging to the same party. This is wilaya. And people in the world can be put into different groups. I have a quiz for you. We have Hizbullah wa Hizbul Shaitan, party of God, party of Shaitan. Yeah? Or party of truth and party of haqq. We have Awliyaullah, we have Awliya'ul Shaitan. Yeah? So, how many types of groups we have? How many good, or you can say, to what groups people are divided? How many camps we have? How many groups we have? We have 2 camps, but 3 groups of people. It's very important. 2 parties, but people are 3 groups. Because we have Hizbullah or Hizbul Haqq, Hizbul Shaitan or Batil, and we have people in between who don't belong to this or that. La ilaha ula wa la ilaha ula muzabzabina bayna dhalik. So you should not think whoever is not in our camp is enemy. These 2 camps who have either Allah or Taghut on the top, then Imams of Nur or Imams of Nar, Imams of light or Imams of fire. These 2 camps are, against each other. Yeah? So, those who are in each camp, they are awliya. But those who are in the other camp are adov. They are enemy for them. But here there is a very subtle point. And I want everyone to pay attention. Hizb al-Shaytan and Hizb Allah. The members of Hizb al-Shaytan are awliya for each other. But do they like each other? No. تحسبهم جميعا وقلوبهم شتى. People of Shaitan don't like each other. They use each other. They don't like each other. And as soon as they can promote themselves by getting rid of others, they will do so. Therefore, although they look very nice to each other, very united, but they are not really united in heart. They may be very organized, but not united in heart. And therefore, on the day of judgment, they all become enemies. The leader becomes enemy of followers, followers become enemy of leaders. استبرأ الذين اتبعوا من الذين اتبعوا. Those who have been followed distance themselves from those who followed them. And those who followed them, they say, يا ليت لنا كرة فنتبرأ منهم كما تبرأوا منا. They say, we wish we could go back and distance ourselves as they distance themselves from us. We wish we could also go back and distance, because these are not good leaders. But that's too late. But in the camp of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they love each other. In the camp of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they love each other. And therefore, even in Akhirah, they remain friends. الأخلاء يومئذ بعضهم لبعض عدو إلا المتقين. Enemies are those who in dunya loved each other, but they were not pious. Their relation was not really brotherhood, friendship. It was covered. When the hidden things become manifest, you see that they were enemies. If two friends are friends because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is real friendship. But two people who spend lots of time together, they play together, they travel together, they commit sins together, they commit crimes together, everywhere they are together. But are these really friends? They're not friends. They just enjoy each other, use each other, but each of them is harming the other. Therefore, on the day of judgment, when the reality becomes clear, they become enemies. Actually, they were enemies, but it was covered. But mu'mineen, on the day of judgment, they remain as friends. So, I believe that although we have verses of the Quran that says, on the day of judgment, everyone runs away from his brother, from his children, from his father, from his mother, from his spouse, from his tribe. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه وفصيلته التي تؤويه. But I think this does not include mu'mineen. Mu'mineen don't run away from each other. Mu'mineen try to help each other. For example, imam, ulama, martyrs, muttaqeen, they don't run away. They wait and do shafa'ah. Even they don't quickly go to heaven. They make sure that they make shafa'ah of people, and then together they go to heaven. So, if you have pious friends, this is good for dunya and good for akhirah. If you spend years to find good friends, it's worse. أعجز الناس من عجز اكتساب الإخوان. The most incompetent people are those who cannot find good friends, brothers, sisters. وأعجز منه. And more incompetent than them are those that lose the friends that they have found. Never lose a good brother, a good sister. Keep them. So, Wali is not just friendship. This was what I wanted to say. We have two groups of people who are organized, but we have a third group who are in between. Sometimes they lean towards this side, sometimes they lean towards that side. If people of haq are clever, they should try to reach out to these people in the middle. If they are not clever, they treat them as enemies. And then they push them towards enemies. Don't think because they just don't look like you or don't act like you, they are enemies. No, they are not enemies. Actually, majority of people are in between. Most of people are not belonging to the camp of shaitan. You shouldn't think anyone who is, for example, not practicing or sinful is in camp of shaitan. Camp of shaitan are for the people who are very vicious and they are very dedicated to mischief and misguiding people. Many people are in between. They try to win them. We should try to win them. Okay? So it's a big shift in your mindset. Never think whoever is not from us is enemy. Another point is Shaitan and his people are enemies of the other camp. Because they want to harm them. They want to destroy them. They want to defeat them. But is Allah and His people, are Allah and His people enemies of the other camp? We are not their enemies. Because we wish for them the best. We want them for them guidance. Of course, with Shaitan there is no hope, but many people in that camp, inshallah, can be guided. Shaitan is enemy, but Allah is not enemy of Shaitan. It's very important. Muawiyah was enemy of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Was Amir al-Mu'mineen enemy of Muawiyah? If Muawiyah was going to Amir al-Mu'mineen and saying, Amir al-Mu'mineen, please help me, would Imam Ali says, no, I am your enemy? I just want to kill you. A man of God, a woman of God, a party of God, they don't have enmity towards anyone. Unless just you say because they have enemies and enmity is mutual, but this is a linguistic point. They are not enemy. They have enemy, but they are not enemy. Because they wish the best for them. If there is anything that they can offer to their enemies to help them, to save them, they would do it without hesitation. So, these are very important points about wilayah. So, مَنْ يَتَوَلَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَإِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Means they become head, a party, not political party. This is a theological, a spiritual, moral, social, a full-fledged party. And these are ghalib. These are going to be dominant and victorious. You remember we had a discussion also why al-ladina amanu is plural. Remember what Amir al-Mu'minin was in ruku and someone asked for help. So sometimes we said in the Quran, plural is used, but it can refer to one person. It's inwan al-mushir. Otherwise, we said no faqih, whether Sunni or Shia, has said that it is mustahab to give zakat when you are in ruku. Yeah? Let alone being a condition for wali. Okay, now we move to next chapter, which is about successorship in hadith. Some of the hadiths are related to the verses, like verse of Qadir. Hadith of Qadir is related to the verse 3 and verse 67 of Surah Ma'idah. We have already talked about them. Tabligh, Balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, or Al-yawm akmaltu lakum dinakum. It's Hadith of Qadir. But there are some hadiths that we don't have direct ayah about it, although they may relate. For example, there is this hadith which is known as Hadith al-Dar. Dar means house. There is no direct ayah about this, but it happened after the verse وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ was revealed. Allah asked the Prophet to start his main campaign with his family, his close family. Before that, Rasulullah had only very limited conversation with few people like Lady Khadija, for example, Imam Ali, and Zayd. But ayah was revealed. Ayah number 214 of, if I am, no, it must be a mistake here. It must, please check that number. 42, the number of verse should be like this. وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. In any case, this is famous ayah. When this was revealed, Prophet knew that he must invite his family, close family, uncles, cousins, towards Islam. So let's listen to the story based on what Tabari mentions. I have put the Arabic version also in the footnote of page 153. Tabari says from Amir al-Mu'minin that when this ayah وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ and verse, so 26 verse 214. Okay, thank you very much. So when this ayah was revealed, Amir al-Mu'minin says, Da'ani Rasulullah. Rasulullah called me. Which ayah? وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. Amir al-Mu'minin says, this Tabari quotes Amir al-Mu'minin, that when this ayah was revealed, Rasulullah called me. فَقَالَ لِي يَا عَلِي إِنَّ اللَّهَ أَمَرَنِي أَنْ أُنذِرَ عَشِيرَتِي الْأَقْرَبِينَ. So, oh Ali, Allah has commanded me, asked me to warn, and to warn means to invite to Islam my close family. But Rasulullah said, I am concerned because if I do this, I may see bad reaction from them. But Jibreel came to me and said, Ya Muhammad, إنك إلا تفعل ما تؤمر به يعذبك ربك. According to what Tabari says, Jibreel went to the Prophet and said, you must do this. If you don't do this, your Lord will punish you. So, Rasulullah told me, make for us some food. So, a leg of like lamb, I made some food and some also drink, and he invited his family people, and he says there were 40 people, one more or less. Means either there were 41 or 39. When they were all together, Rasulullah told me, bring the food. And I brought the food, and Rasulullah took the meat, and Rasulullah gave every person from meat, but the meat was not reduced. So the kind of miracle that they saw, that the food was not reduced. But after that, what happened was that when Rasulullah wanted to speak, فَلَمَّا أَرَادَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُكَلِّمَهُمْ, still he didn't talk. When he wanted to talk, then unfortunately بَدَرَهُ أَبُو لَهَبْ إِلَى الْكَلَامِ. Abu Lahab, who was uncle of the Prophet, rushed and spoke before Rasulullah had opportunity to talk. And he called this like a magic. He said this is magic, and he spoiled the whole meeting. And then Rasulullah said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, إِنَّ هَذَا الرَّجُلْ سَبَقَنِي إِلَى مَا قَدْ سَمِعْتَ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ. Oh Ali, you see, this man preceded me by saying what you heard from him. So people were scattered before I could talk to them, and then he invited them again. And then Rasulullah said, Ya Bani Abdul Muttalib, O children of Abdul Muttalib, because they were close relatives, uncles, cousins of the Prophet. Wallahi ma a'lamu shabban fil Arab ja'a qawmahu bi'afdala mimma qad ji'tukum bih. By Allah, I don't know any young member of Arabs, any young person in Arabs, who has brought his people something better than me, better than what I have brought for you. إني قد جئتكم بخير الدنيا والآخرة. I brought you the good of dunya and akhirah. وَقَدْ أَمَرَنِيَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى أَنْ أَدْعُوَكُمْ إِلَيْهِ. My Lord has asked me to call you towards Islam. So far, this is not related to Imamah. But then, hadith has continuity. فَأَيُّكُمْ يوازرني على هذا الأمر. أيكم يوازرني على هذا الأمر على أن يكون أخي ووصيي وخليفتي فيكم. Who among you is going to help me? Yuwaziru is from wazir. Who is going to help me over this issue, this affair, so that he becomes my brother, my successor, and my wasi, the one who would have authority after me. فَأَحْجَمَ الْقَوْمُ عَنْهَا جَمِيعًا. They all kept silent. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I was the youngest of them. وَإِنِّي أَحْدَثُهُمْ سِنَّةً. I was the youngest one. And I said, أنا يا نبي الله أكون وزيرك علي. I am going to help you, O Messenger of God. And then Rasulullah, according to some narrations, this Rasulullah repeated, and here he doesn't mention repetition, so but according to me, this was repeated. Again, no one was answering except Amir al-Mu'mineen. ثم قال إن هذا أخي ووصيي وخليفتي فيكم. This is my brother, my wasi, the one who has my, inherits this position, my successor and khalifa. فاسمعوا له وأطيعوا. Listen to him and obey him. But then, unfortunately, فقام القوم يضحكون. These were family members of the Prophet, closest people to the Prophet. They had such an honor that the messenger is from them, and he's offering them to help him and then be successor. But they didn't welcome, and when Amir al-Mu'mineen welcomed, they made kind of mockery. They laughed. وَيَقُولُونَ لَأَبِي طَالِبٍ قَدْ أَمَرَكَ أَن تَسْمَعَ لِابْنِكَ وَتُطِيعَهُ. They said to Abu Talib, look, he says you must listen and obey your son. Because in their mentality, a head of a tribe cannot, obey a young person. Always must be the oldest and the one who is at the top of the tribe. So, this is known as hadith al-Dar. Hadith al-Dar is this hadith that the Prophet offered based on Allah's, of course, will. Who is going to believe in me and help me in this Islam? And then Allah would make him my successor, and only Amir al-Mu'mineen showed readiness. And Rasulullah confirmed that. Another hadith is hadith al-manzilah. We have it in Dua al-Nudba also. And the story is this, that we have it, for example, in Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. If you look at page 156, you have this hadith from Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. You have in also other books. For example, I read from Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. The other hadith, other than Tabari, I have given you other references from Sunni references. خرج بالناس في غزوة تبوك. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal says, Rasulullah in the Ghazwa of Tabuk. Ghazwa, is different from Sariyah. There were two types of wars. Wars that the Prophet himself attended, and he was the commander, it's called Ghazwa. Sometimes he sent a group, it's called Sariyah. The plural is Saraya. So this was Ghazwa, means the Prophet himself was going, with the army for Tabuk, towards the Romans. But فقال له علي أخرج معك. Amir al-Mu'mineen, who was not hiding himself in such cases, he was a person who was very happy to be always with the Prophet and to be available for help, for sacrifice. So he went to the Prophet, shall I also join you and come with you? فقال له نبي الله لا. He said no. Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't say Alhamdulillah. So now I am exempted, I can, remain here. No, he cried. Because he wanted to be always with the Prophet and be ready to be available for help, for sacrifice. فَبَكَى عَلِيٌّ. Amir al-Mu'mineen cried. Then Rasulullah said, أَمَا تَرْضَى أَن تَكُونَ مِنِّي بِمَنْزِلَةِ هَارُونَ مِنْ مُوسَى إِلَّا أَنَّكَ لَسْتَ بِنَبِيٍّ. Aren't you happy to be with respect to me like Harun with respect to Musa? Harun was appointed as successor for Musa when Musa went to receive the tablets. Yeah, وَوَاعَدْنَا مُوسَى 30 لَيْلَةً وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ فَتَمَّ مِيقَاتُ رَبِّهِ 40 لَيْلَةً وَقَالَ مُوسَى لِأَخِيهِ هَارُونَ اخْلُفْنِي فِي قَوْمِي. Be my Khalifa وَأَصْلِحْ وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. But Harun was also a Nabi. There is no Nabi after the prophets. So he says, you are for me like Harun, for Musa, but there is no Nabi after me. إِنَّهُ لَا يَنْبَغِي أَنْ أَذْهَبَ إِلَّا وَأَنْتَ خَلِيفَتِي. I should not go unless you remain as my successor. Of course, this was a way that Allah wanted to give this message to people. You know, sometimes they travel together. But Rasulullah is using this incident to talk about Khalifa after his demise, not just Khalifa in the short term. You get the point? Then Rasulullah also told him, أنت ولي في كل مؤمن بعدي. For every mu'min after me, you are my wali. Means in the hierarchy of wilayah, after me, you come and other people have to refer to you if I am not there. I have also quoted from other books here. You find the same story in other sources as well, because the time is very short. So I go to the next hadith, which is hadith of tayr. Hadith of tayr. Bird. Tayr means bird. But bird, not necessarily a bird which is flying. Bird like even, for example, chicken and hen, these are also birds, you know. Turkey, these are birds, not necessarily something that has to fly. What is the story? And I need your attention, because there are some subtle points here in these hadiths, and we need your attention. First, a very simple narration, but then we go to those which have more depth and more details. Tabarani in al-Mu'jam al-Kubra. Tabarani is different from Tabari. Tabarani in al-Mu'jam al-Kubra says that Rasulullah was offered a bird, okay, like a fried chicken, for example, or roasted or fried chicken, something like this. Then Rasulullah prayed, Allahumma a'tini bi'ahabbi khalqika ilayk ya'kulu ma'i min hadha al-tayr. Oh Allah, please bring the dearest of your people to you, the one that you love the most, so that he would eat with me from this. He wanted to eat this with a person who is loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَجَاءَ عَلِيٌّ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ. Tabarani doesn't say any details, he just says Ali came and Rasulullah said, Allahumma wali. But then we go to other books and we find actually there was a whole story here. We go to Faza'il al-Sahaba. The same person, Safina, who was a Mawla, a servant for Rasulullah, says, Ahdat imra'atun min al-ansar. So the one who had given this bird was a lady from Ansar. So there's more detail. She presented to Rasulullah tayrain bayna raqifain, two birds in two pieces of bread. So each of them was wrapped with bread. He says, I saw or reports that this lady brought and gave it to the Prophet. Rasulullah said, Allahumma a'tani bi'ahab khalqika ilayka wa ila rasulik. Oh Allah, please bring the one who is most loved by you and your Prophet. Wa rafa'a sawtah, and raised his voice. Who raised the voice? Doesn't say. You think Rasulullah raised the voice? Yeah, rafa'a sawtah. Who raised the voice? But فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من هذا? Rasulullah said, who is he? Who is? So it shows that someone raised his voice, and Rasulullah said, who is this person who is raising his voice? فقال علي, said Ali. فقال فافتح له. Rasulullah said, open the door. ففتحت, I opened the door. فأكل مع رسول الله من الطيرين حتى فنيا. He ate with Rasulullah from these two birds and they finished. No one else was able to eat because it was supposed to be eaten by someone who is most loved by Allah and the Prophet. Otherwise they would have left for other people. It's very important. So, the first narration has no details. This one has a little details, but still you don't know why someone raised his voice, why Rasulullah said open the door. What was the issue? You don't realize. Unless you read the next one, which has more details. And this is in another book. Haythami in Majma' al-Zawaid quotes from Anas ibn Malik. كنت أخدم رسول الله. He says, I was serving Rasulullah and farkhan mashwiya, grilled or like a roasted chicken was brought to the Prophet. Rasulullah said, Allahumma a'tani bi'ahabbil khalqi ilayka wa ilayya ya'kulu ma'i min hadha al-fakh. Rasulullah said, oh Allah, please bring the one that is most loved by you and me so that he eats with me. فَجَاءَ عَلِيٌّ وَدَقَّ الْبَابِ. Ali came and knocked the door. فَقَالَ أَنَسْ مَنْ هَذَا? Who is this one who is knocking the door? قَالَ عَلِيٌّ. So what should he have done now? So I said, welcome, Bismillah. But he says, I said, النَّبِيُّ عَلَى حَاجَةٍ. I said, Rasulullah is busy. Means you cannot see him. فَانْصَرَفَ. Then Rasulullah started eating, but also again prayed, Allahumma a'tani bi'ahabbil khalqi ilayka wa ilayya ya'kulu ma'i min hadha al-fakh. Again he prayed. جاء علي فدق الباب دقا شديدا. This time he knocked the door hard. فسمع رسول الله فقال يا أنس من هذا? This time Rasulullah heard someone is knocking the door. Said, who is this? قلت Ali. I said, it's Ali. قال أدخله. Then Rasulullah said, bring him in. So now you realize, the first one didn't say what happened. The second said, رفع صوته. But this one has all the details. So, فقال رسول الله لقد سألت الله ثلاثا. He said, I asked Allah 3 times to send the one that is most loved by Allah and me to eat from me. فقال علي وأنا يا رسول الله لقد جئت ثلاثا كل ذلك يردني أنس. He said, I came 3 times, but every time Anas is sending me back. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أنس ما حملك على ما صنعت. Why you did this? Look at him. أحببت أن تدرك الدعوة رجلا من قومي. He said, I wanted someone from my group to come. So he was sending Amir al-Mu'minin hoping maybe someone comes and then he lets him in. What mentality is this? This is what I call religious ego. Yeah, sometimes we have religious ego. We go, for example, to visit Imam, and there is a place near the head. People want to say 2 rak'ah prayer. Some people go there and they don't want to leave. 2 rak'ah, 4 rak'ah, 6 rak'ah, 10 rak'ah. When they are tired, they sit. As soon as someone comes, they start praying. Say 2 rak'ah prayer and give the place to Allah. Allah will give you more, inshallah, than you sitting here. Give the place to someone else. This is religious ego, which is not good. Not many people are like this, but there are. Then he says that Rasulullah said, لا يلام الرجل على حب قومه. People are not blamed for loving their people. I don't know, now with what has done Anas, you can trust what he says or not. So maybe he's saying this to justify, I don't know. Anyway, the idea is good. You love your people, it's okay, but you should not let your love for people make you biased against someone else, especially when Rasulullah is praying. So, this is hadith of tayr. We have also this hadith in another source which I have quoted in footnote 10. Asqalani also quotes this in al-Matalib al-Aliyah. He says, Anas ibn Malik said, Rasulullah was offered this bird and he prayed. فقالت عائشة اللهم اجعله أبي. There's more details. So, wife of the Prophet, Aisha, said, oh Allah, make that person that Rasulullah prayed to come to be my father. Okay, this is okay. قالت حفصة اللهم اجعله أبي. وقال أنس وقلت اللهم اجعله سعد بن عبادة, because he was Ansar and wanted. قال أنس فسمعت حركة بالباب. I saw door is moving, or some فخرجت فإذا علي. The face of Anas at that time was, really interesting to see. فقلت إن رسول الله على حاجة. I said Rasulullah is busy. فانصرف. ثم سمعت حركة بالباب. Again I saw the door is, moving, shaking, whatever. فخرجت فإذا علي بالباب. فقلت إن رسول الله على حاجة فانصرف. ثم سمعت حركة بالباب فسلم علي. This time Amir al-Mu'mineen also said salam. Maybe previous time also, but this time maybe louder. فسمع رسول الله صوته. Rasulullah now heard the voice of Ali. فقال انظر من هذا. Tell me, who is this? And he said, I went and saw it as Ali. So Ali raised his voice, or maybe this Sallama Sultan means raised his voice, and Rasulullah said, who is this person? And it was Ali. فَجِئْتُ إِلَىٰ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ فَأَخْبَرْتُهُ. Rasulullah said, إِئْذَنْ لَهُ. Give him permission. فَدَخَلَ عَلِيٌّ فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم وإلي. اللهم وإلي. Or in some versions, Allahumma wali man wala. Ilayya means come to me. Wali man wala means be with the one who has his wilayah. So now you realize that there is a whole story here. There is another version which you find in Musnad Abi Ya'la al-Musali. He mentions something different, and I don't think this is the right one. He says, "An Anas ibn Malik anna an-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kana indahu ta'ir." Rasulullah had a roasted chicken and bird. فقال اللهم ائتني بأحب خلقك يأكل معي من هذا. Oh Allah, bring the most lovable person to you, eat with me. فجاء أبو بكر فرده. Says the first caliph came, Rasulullah sent him back. ثم جاء عمر فرده. ثم جاء علي فأذن له. I don't think this is the case, but anyway, this is what Sunni scholar has said. So, what is important is that the one that actually ate with the Prophet was Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. We have Hadith al-Ghadir that you are already familiar. Hadith of Wilaya, which you are already familiar because we talked about it, about the ayah. Unfortunately, we don't have time to continue with the chapter about Wilaya. And this is why we call this series Imamah, not Imam and Wilaya. So I gave this title. Inshallah, another time. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to understand Islam as He is pleased with. رَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. That Islam that Allah is pleased with, we ask Allah to help us to understand, to absorb, and to practice, inshallah. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much. I think we'll just have one question before the announcements. Anybody wants to ask a question, if they can raise their hand.